But Vienna couldn't feed herself, let alone supply an army. In April 1918, Austrian General Landwehr, in charge of food distribution, took matters into his own hands. Grain barges from Romania passed through the city down the Danube to Germany. Landwehr ordered his men to hijack one.
Now Vienna had no bread. Something had to be done. The confiscation of the German grain barge was the only way out. This was simply street robbery, albeit an official one dictated by need. It was a violent action I had to take if I was to save Vienna from starvation.
Ludendorff was so enraged, he considered declaring war on Austria. And trouble was brewing with Germany's other main ally, Ottoman Turkey. Germany needed Turkey to hold the line against the British advance into the Middle East. But after 600 years, the Ottoman Empire was crumbling, and the British Empire was licking its lips. In March 1917, the British captured Baghdad. In December, they entered Jerusalem. The loss of both cities was a severe blow to Ottoman authority in the Middle East.
The words, "Jerusalem has fallen," spread like news of a death in the family. Jerusalem was in the hands of the English. How heroically the last Turks fought. We did not leave Jerusalem like the sons of Israel. We left it like Turks. Through the Mount of Olives, the evening shadows deepen and widen like a grave sucking in the whole of the Ottoman Empire. We now had to prepare our tears for Beirut, Damascus, and Aleppo. Now we thought only of Anatolia and Istanbul. Goodbye to the empire and all its dreams and fancies.
The British Army had it all. They had built roads, even pipes to distribute water to the troops. We did not have any clean drinking water. A flask full of clean water was sold for a gold coin on the Turkish side.
In Turkey, as with her allies, the situation on the home front was so desperate it threatened her capacity to wage war. Turkey hadn't known peace for 7 years. The First World War was just the latest and most terrible in a string of conflicts. Most able-bodied men were in the army, or wounded or dead. The land was impoverished, the people near breaking point.
An old farmer with a 7-year-old girl, his grandchild, came to see me. The child's father had died in Gallipoli and the mother had died as well. He begged me, for God's sake, take this child and save her from starvation and death. I took the child. Back in Istanbul, I discovered that almost all of my officer friends had taken in poor children like that from the villages of Anatolia.
General Mustafa Kemal, Turkey's future leader, warned that this was a recipe for national disaster.
There are no bonds between the government and the people. What we call the people is now composed of women, disabled men and children. For all alike, the government is the power which insistently drives them to hunger and death. Every new step taken by the government increases the general hatred the people feel for it.
But far from relaxing the pressure on the Turkish people, their war leader, Enver Pasha, had even bigger demands to make on them. While Britain swallowed up the old Ottoman Empire in the south, Enver looked east, dreaming of a new Turkish empire extending into Central Asia.
destiny forces us to move from the south to the east, where our blood, our roots, our language, and, most importantly, our future lie.
Ludendorff also had plans which ignored the parlous state of the Turkish army. By May 1918, he had a crazy idea for Enver to strike at the heart of the British Empire.
Even if we are victorious in France, it is still in no way certain that we can force the English to a peace acceptable to us if we are not able to threaten their most sensitive spot, India.
But Enver stuck to his own agenda, and that included sending his newly formed army of Islam to capture the oil-rich city of Baku. Britain and Germany also had Baku in their sights. Now the scramble for Central Asia was on.
The speed and energy of the Turkish advance seems to have taken Europe by surprise. They hadn't thought Turkey was able to carry out such deeds.
Ludendorff was furious to find yet again an ally trying to steal resources from Germany.
Unless the Turkish advance on Baku is halted at once and the troops are withdrawn to their original positions, I shall have to propose to His Majesty the Kaiser the recall of the German officers in the Turkish High Command.
While they were bickering, Britain sneaked into Baku first. Turkey's commanders, like Vejihi Bey, were growing bitter over the cost of her alliance with Germany.
We thought we were sacrificing ourselves for the common good of the Germans and Turks. Oh, this shining, silvered plan. We've sacrificed millions of our sons for a dream.
A woman is asking everyone she sees, "Have you seen my Ahmed?" Which Ahmed? Which of the 100,000 Ahmeds? He went this way, she said. That way? To the Suez Canal? Sarikamish or Baghdad? Was your Ahmed swallowed by ice, sand, or bitten by scorpions? No. None of us have seen your Ahmed. But he has seen hell. If we could only explain to a mother what we gained from it, news to make her proud. But we lost Ahmed in a gamble.
Regardless of the Central Powers' mounting problems, Ludendorff's push on the Western Front was storming ahead.
We're going like hell, on and on, day and night. Our baggage is somewhere in the rear and nobody expects to see it again. We're glad if ration carts and field kitchens can get up to us at night. Now we go forward, past craters and trenches, captured gun positions, ration dumps and clothing depots. Our cars now run on the best English rubber tires. We smoke none but English cigarettes and plaster our boots with lovely English boot polish. All unheard of things which belonged to a fairyland a long time ago.
The British Fifth Army fell back in disorder before the Germans. Von Hutier's 18th Army had advanced the furthest. They encountered slight resistance because the areas they reached were of lesser strategic importance to the Allies. Instead of reining von Hutier in and turning his army against Allied strongholds, Ludendorff rewarded him with medals and reinforcements. Crown Prince Ruprecht, commanding 4 of the German armies, saw big trouble ahead.
German High Command has changed direction. It has made its decisions according to the size of its territorial gain, rather than according to operational goals.
The problem was Ludendorff. He had an eye for detailed battlefield tactics, but was blind to the big strategic picture. His army's spectacular advance had no vital objective. Indeed, woe betide a staff officer who dared ask Ludendorff what the operation was meant to achieve.
I object to the word operation. We will punch a hole into their line. For the rest, we shall see.
Rudolf Binding, at the cutting edge of the Second Army, realized that the speed of the German advance across this open, undefended ground was a problem in itself.
One cannot go on victoriously forever without ammunition or any sort of reinforcements. Behind us lies the wilderness. The thing which annoys and upsets us again and again are the exaggerations of the newspapers and the telegrams to crowned heads about the decisive victory.
The German advance, which looked so good on paper, had dangerously outstripped its supply lines. Some units were so far ahead, no one was quite sure where they were, and the Germans had neither the horses to pull the supply carts, nor enough fodder.
The sun dries out the poor earth to dust. I don't know what we will live off. Already we have no oats. If we have a bad harvest, then we can send the horses to the sausage factory.
The deeper the Germans penetrated Allied lines, the more their own deprivations were forced home to them.
Like a vision from the promised land, we are already in the English rest areas, a land flowing with milk and honey. Our men can hardly be distinguished from English soldiers. Every one wears at least a leather jerkin, a waterproof, either short or long. There's no doubt the army is looting with some zest.
On the 23rd of March, Ludendorff suddenly dreamed up a real objective, the city of Amiens. Amiens was a hub of the Allied railway system, the key junction between northern France and Paris. Amiens' loss would be a calamity for the Allies, as French General Ferdinand Foch realized.